On Monday, the Trump administration began denying visas to same-sex domestic partners of foreign diplomats. A move one former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations labeled, aptly I think, quote, needlessly cruel and bigoted, end quote. Because
he forgot petty.
Yeah,
it was succinct, though.
Somehow our president manages to go on Twitter and not be succinct. It's effective.
Not in his nature.
Not in his nature. So the policy change came into effect this week and will impact staff at organizations such as the UN, the World Bank, the IMF, and the administration originally flagged the policy back in July. Let's see. Quote, same-sex spouses of U.S. diplomats now enjoy the same rights and benefits as opposite-sex spouses, end quote. The U.S. mission wrote to UN-based delegations. Quote, consistent with State Department policy, partners accompanying members of permanent missions or seeking to join the same must generally be married in order to be eligible, end quote, for a diplomatic visa. So the problem with this is that it's only 12% of UN member states allow same-sex marriage. And there are just 25 countries around the world that recognize some form of same-sex marriage, which incredibly limits the ability of people in same-sex unions of any kind to serve in the diplomatic corps of the UN, the IMF, etc. And
bad.
So they're in the extreme minority in this instance.
Yeah, no. So presumably there will be some countries. I don't know which other countries recognize. Ireland. I know that they're the first nation that had a referendum to allow same-sex marriage, and it passed, and they added it to their constitution, which is phenomenal. Go Ireland!
Yeah.
Was it Ireland or Scotland that just recently got rid of their blasphemy laws?
It was probably Ireland, because there was. I can't say that I know that it was Ireland, but it was probably Ireland. There's been some stink about their blasphemy laws. I know Stephen Fry went there sometime last year or the year before and said something about religion, and so was going to be subject to prosecution on their blasphemy laws.
That was just awesome news.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's a lot of negative things to say about what's happening in the United States right now, but the First Amendment as it stands, as far as it protects free speech, is actually kind of phenomenal the world over. But staying on point, as I'm wont to do, I don't know, it's the UN. Just let people show up and serve, God.
Well,
maybe everyone gets a +1 period. If it's their kid, if it's their friend Ralph, it doesn't matter. Just let them be diplomats. Christ.
Was this before or after the UN laughed at Trump?
It went into effect after,
Probably
but
after.
they originally flagged the new policy back in July.
Okay, so it wasn't just a tantrum.
Right.
No. It's possible that if you wanted to throw conspiracies, it would be possible for the administration to foresee Donald Trump's speech not going over well. But I think it's, and just being like, you know what, he's going to need some kind of revenge after they're done responding to what he says.
Yeah.
And if this were revenge by him, it wouldn't be quite this subtle.
No, it wouldn't.
You know what? That's a fair point.
Yeah, it would be like, get rid of all the,
We're pulling out of the UN. Screw them all.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, we did pull out of the Human Rights Council.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Gross.
Not like we can make a contribution anymore.
Well, to be clear, I was pretty sure that at one point Saudi Arabia was going to chair. And so it was sort of like,
I'm pretty sure they did share.
Yeah,
Why
they
not?
did share. It's sort of, why not? But also, the United States is just gone. Saudi Arabia is still around. This speaks volumes to where our nation is at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It's difficult because there are people that I know that, don't see the current administration and the way that it affects people of different religions and the world over, and all of this don't see the Trump administration for what it is. And it gets difficult for me to understand how they don't. Like,
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Do I need to become your crazy, grandfather and forward you a email that's been forwarded 100 times already?
Actually piggybacking off of that, one of the reasons why that blasphemy law really needed to go was because Ireland was a first world nation and they still had that archaic law. And places like Saudi Arabia and the like pointed to Ireland and said, look, that's a first world nation doing that thing. That legitimizes us doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, people don't think about that kind of implication when it comes to Trump and this administration.
Yeah. Because
countries around the world point to us and say, hey, look,
a clown.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
we're not so bad.
They have the death penalty.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
They have Guantanamo Bay,
Yeah, we can have our own.
Exactly.
Yeah, really. No. I mean, really, that did work as a recruiting tool for like Al Qaeda and everything. Was, hey, look, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in any case,
It absolves them because, we are a world leader. We are the biggest world leader. And, if we don't set a good example, then who the fuck will?
yeah. I mean, it's weird, and you get the counter from particularly people that went to my university that like, oh, the United States has this inflated image of its importance, and the United States thinks more of itself, et cetera, et cetera. And sure, to a degree, we do, yeah, we do. But we're the most significant member of NATO, one of 5 permanent members on the Security Council. The U.S. currency is somewhere between 85 and 88% of all currency trading. Our hard and soft power is kind of baked in to a large degree. Yeah, the amount of money that we spend on our military, which is stationed all around the world, dwarfs the total GDP of I don't even know how many countries. It's significant. We got to get it right.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary. This is a couple of years ago, some Netflix documentary, talking about should America be the world's police force, basically, not just militarily, but in lots of different aspects. And it was interesting. I was generally of the idea that we should not be as present in everything, everywhere, all the time as we currently are. This documentary made a good point, though, that a lot of countries, because we've been doing it for so long, a lot of countries now rely on this to do this and support them and things like that. So if we were just to pull out of everything and say, we're going to focus on America first or whatever, that could cause lots and lots of problems.
There are significant things that we could do. I mean, we have numerous military bases in Germany.
Still, yeah.
And around the world, we have hundreds upon hundreds of military bases that cost billions of dollars a year just to maintain.
Yeah.
We're pissing that money away, Yeah,
I mean, it's certainly a lot of money out the door, actually. I think, I don't know, it may have been my upbringing, right? But when I was growing up, there was the point that was made to me and that I echoed of people were talking about, when are we going to get out of Iraq? When are we going to get out of Afghanistan? When are we going to get out of this? And someone made the point, when are we going to get out of Germany and Japan?
Right.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, international relations is very interesting on that point, but, and it's probably my upbringing, but I kind of take the opposite view. I think perhaps I'm not as present as we are in everything, but I feel like if there is a power on the world stage that can be used to push, even less than coercively, but just nudge the world in the direction towards human rights and education and equality, then we should, right? The problem is, there's 2 problems with that.
What's the downside?
Well, one problem is maintaining a moral high ground in order to do so.
Yeah.
Which we've lost now.
It is partly that. It's partly with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
promoting the right worldview and humanitarian things like that is all well and good. Just be careful that you're not overstepping your bounds.
Yeah.
And pushing too much of, you know, this is what we think is right and this is what the rest of the world should do.
And of course, the world, if they look to the U.S., they can't make plans beyond 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
2 in some cases.
Because now they'll be whipsawed between, you know, dramatically different
I'm pulling out of
branches, you know.
Pulling out of, were you going to say?
The Iran deal?
Yeah, the Iran deal.
Yeah, no, totally pulled the rug out from under moderates that wanted to work with us. That's what I was going to say.
Well,
sorry,
I mean, it kind of undermines our believability and like,
we can't be trusted.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna.
I mean, I can be trusted.
We're gonna sign a treaty,
right?
But it's only gonna last how many years?
Until the end of my administration.
Our 20-year deal may be canceled by the next administration.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So. And I'm.
And what is you know, what is an effort against global warming but a long-term commitment?
I'm blanking
can't
on
do it.
The Paris Agreement. That's right.
Can't do it.
Yeah, that one
we have no credibility right now.
Yeah,
no. I mean, we didn't really have. I mean, we saw something similar when Bush was elected. Because the world saw that as a joke. Of course.
Right.
Oh, this is preposterous. This is the most
were the days.
ridiculous world leader that could blah 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 blah, and he can't even say nuclear.
He's a Harvard professor in comparison.
Yes,
I know. Really, it's he made some statement in the aftermath of Charlottesville. I was like, oh wow, miss it.
I know.
It was presidential.
Exactly.
Exactly. Let's not normalize W too much.
No. I mean,
a lot of people make that mistake in the Trump era, and we should not be normalizing W.
No, we shouldn't. But it kind of is. I mean, like
far more preferable.
Yeah, I would like a president that acknowledges that reality is shared between all people and that you have to stick with it.
Who's got at least a little bit of compassion and a vocabulary somewhere above the second grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but then he'll do and say something, and it's like,
to be clear, he does have compassion.
Genuine. He was genuine. Whereas Trump is just, he's a fucking con man.
Yeah,
he's a bad one.
Oh
too.
No,
he's such a bad liar.
We were talking about finding an issue that we could go back and forth on and disagree on, and now it's going to be Trump, and now I'm on the least favorable side of this because I have to say, well, no, he as far as being a human and having compassion, he does. And
that bar is kind of low.
If you grant him that.
Well, no. And then as far as being a con man, you have to know that you're conning, and I think that he believes the things that he says, right? So
as he blurts them out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so he said that he was telling a joke to the UN and that they were laughing with him. I honestly believe that he believes that. It may be that on any given Sunday you can hear me taking calls with people that will, aren't that, I don't want to say far gone, but aren't that quite in the self-deluding category. But
let's find our religious angle again.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gone off.
Yeah, we've gone.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. You guys would say that when I started to disagree.
Good job, Jamie.
Yeah. No, it is. We've been going tangent to tangent, but basically it's sort of we can link Trump to it, which is that he continues to be supported by the evangelical movement.
Yes,
has made leaps and bounds in the last
reasons
just the last
comprehension.
2 decades have been a spectacular 2 decades for the religious. I mean, the phrase "religious right" rubs some people the wrong way, some moderate people and some people that are believers. But I don't think they necessarily watch this show. But like theocrats and Christian theocrats in this country have made headway, leaps and bounds over the last 2 decades, which actually I'll address in a deep dive a bit later. But